Hey, Gloucester Township. I am Joe Allen, here with Keith Gibbons, and this is GT Observer's Inside Township Talk.
Yeah.
We go inside Township Talks around South Jersey and pull out all of the
notable,
controversial, and basically any topics. They get a lot of traction.
Yeah.
We go through. Sometimes we do some interviews with
I will
some
say we got kind of lazy this one here. It's very, very local. We didn't get out into far towns away. There was a lot that went on in our local towns.
Man? Pine Hill's usually a good source for some good comedy.
Yeah.
There was not a lot going on Pine Hill. Washington Township, they get a little scrappy in Washington Township sometimes too, and they were not. No. At least not.
We had the most drama. It's all about drama. That's what it.
Look, the biggest issues right now are going on in Gloucester Township. So
yeah,
it's if you're outside the township and you're checking us out, bear with us. We got some GT info here, but hey, you might want to learn something because hey, you never know. This might be coming
to a town.
This might be coming. Yeah, this might be coming to your town. So. First up on the agenda here is
we had a fire, right?
Yeah, a couple Tuesdays ago, I was coming home from a bowl on Tuesday nights.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's fantastic, man. Actually, I hate it, and I love it at the same time. But I bowl on Tuesday nights over at Bolero in Turnersville, and we were coming home. And my wife was just browsing Facebook. She goes, "There's a big fire right now in Pine Hill."
Yeah.
And
you grew up in Pine Hill, so you have family
I'm from
there?
Pine Hill. Yeah, she's right off Turnersville Road. So we went straight past home, straight into Pine Hill to see what was going on, and it happened to be a house on Turnersville Road. But a really, devastating fire.
Yeah,
we were there.
Any fire.
It was. Look, the sky was lit up around this fire. This was a massive fire. We got there, I guess, right after. We got there before it was out, basically, and it was a devastating fire. Not a house that I knew. I know a lot of people in the area, but not a house that I knew. But kind of in a terrible story, also a great story. A young man was coming home from a baseball game, I think with his father, and they saw his house on fire. They went up and knocked, and apparently the person that owns this home was sleeping. So
didn't even know their house was on fire. So this kid basically saved their lives.
Yeah, it was basically a car parked under a carport caught this house on fire, and they gave this young man a heroism award, which was it's just a kind of a fantastic story.
Yeah,
I mean, really sorry about the homeowner that lost their home, but just I don't know. It's
what's that? That old saying where they say see something, say something, right? So he knew, hey, I better go knock on this door because this guy doesn't even think he knows that his house is on fire.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder. Like, you see something, you're driving by, you see something, and you're going, is that house on fire or not? Do I go back?
Right.
I think the answer is yeah. Maybe you go back. Maybe you go back. I don't know. I don't know the situation whether or not. I had gathered they were walking home.
Well, we do know that it was not set by an electric vehicle, right? It was just a regular. Somehow this vehicle.
It was pretty crazy on how this all went down. Somebody said, "Well, yeah, these electric vehicles, these batteries, they don't go out," and which is true. But electric vehicle batteries are really, really hard to put out. Mm-hmm. It takes special training for fire departments. Now this one, I went back and looked at some Google photos on this. saw that this particular homeowner had a Kia and a Ford Mustang in the driveway. And it looked like...
it had to be the Ford. It's got to be.
Well, for a long time, Fords had ignition system failures, and they were burning houses down because people were parking them in their garages. And look, I'm a longtime Ford owner. I've had several Ford Mustangs throughout the years, so it was always a concern of whether or not like the ignition system was going to short out and burn the house down, but. In this case here, the pictures showed that it was a Kia that was on fire, and people said, "Well, these electric vehicles, man." But it kind of turned out. Did some little bit of research on it. I don't believe this was an actual electrical vehicle fire,
right?
But it was a vehicle fire that caused this issue. And this young man came across his house, I believe, with his father, and knocked on the door. The homeowner was asleep.
Check your batteries and your smoke detectors, right?
Woke the homeowner up and saved him and saved him. So a terrible story, but at the same time a really great story of somebody just stepping up. And I think we kind of ignore what goes on around us and we go, not my problem.
Right, that's their problem.
This is somebody that went up and sometimes you bang on a neighbor's door and they're not the friendliest people. But look, you saved this person, and from what I gather,
sometimes when you get involved, you're like, why did I get involved? Why am I involved with this? This is not my problem. I'm not dealing with this. But this guy, kid, whatever you want to say, he stopped.
From what I gather, the homeowner came to this and thanked them. So. A great story, a really, really, really great story. Yeah. The guy will rebuild, and he's still alive. So it turns out to be a really great story in Pine Hill.
What else we got, Joe? We have moving over to Gloucester Township, where we are based.
Yeah, so we're based out of Gloucester Township here.
Oh,
and it's the preschool thing, man. Preschool.
It's that time of year. Preschool.
My son didn't get a preschool again. I can't stop crying. I'm a third grade teacher at neighboring school district, single mother, scraping by, and I can't get a spot. So,
yep.
This stuck out to me because, look, we're in the midst of people.
I need to put my that screwed everything up.
Oh, what happened there? That's a crazy thing going on.
All right.
So. I don't even know.
What is going on? Oh, my Lord.
There he is.
There we go. These opinions are my own and not...
So
anyone else or any board I may hold, just my own opinions. But because we're talking about schools, I have to
anytime schools come up...
I only speak about my opinion. I do not represent anyone else but myself.
So, I mean, this is kind of I feel like this is going to be more of a common thing now going forward. We've got coming in 2024. We've probably got thousands of homes coming in.
I think it's 30. Don't quote me on this exact number, but I think it is 3,671 homes approved to be built. Not counting 1,600 units in Lakeland. So over 4,000 units of housing to be developed that have already been approved. It's not like, well, I guess all of them are maybe it could happen until it's actually built, because that is true. But they're coming. It's, we have under the high tension wires over there in Blackwood on the Black Horse Pike by Penco Tech over there. Oh,
yeah.
That's being built. We have across from Ann Mullen's School, which is another topic we have brought up later on. They're all over the township. Over 4,000 units of housing. That typically brings in
generally
children.
Generally not owned by single people. So you figure...
Well, you could be single and still have a child.
4,000... Well, yeah, but at least 4,000 new homes is probably at least 8,000 new people. And then out of those, how many of those people have children?
Yeah.
Now we start adding to the school system. Now we start looking at like preschool and lotteries and
Well, right. I mean, right now we are, and it's not a secret. It's not. No one's trying to hide it. We are almost at capacity in our schools.
yeah.
With the current situation, we did not have preschool until fairly recently, and there was somewhat of a lure to bring in preschool because there's money available from the state in order to offer that. Prior to us offering it, you had to go to like Goddard School or Montessori or somewhere else that had a pre-K program, but it's become more of a hey, I deserve pre-K because I live in town and you guys offer pre-K, so why can't I do it? So it's done through a lottery system, and the lottery system has become more competitive over time. We haven't built any more schools to offer more spaces, so the more people that move into the town, the more the spaces that are available become prime spaces because of the space that we have. I don't know how to explain this. Not rocket science,
the same thing, the same theme here gets me too. With all these is, I do not think I'm special or think I should get in. I think in a town where taxes are so high, they need to figure out how to accommodate this instead of putting stupid polls in and other stupid things. The thought here is, well, we pay these high taxes for these premium services.
Right.
So why can't why if I'm paying such high taxes, can't my kid get into these things? Because I'm paying for premium things.
Well, it's a message that's been put out by our administration.
That's the thing. The thing is here, you're not paying for premium things. You've been told to think that you are paying for premium things. Go to any township around you. Mm-hmm. We get the same. They get the same things that we get. There's nothing premium about what you're paying for your taxes. You're just paying for other people to make money off of your taxes. That's what you're paying for. Yeah. You're not paying for anything premium. There's nothing special about living in Gloucester Township.
Just because you're told something doesn't make it true, right?
Yeah.
And that's
go to Washington Township and think. If you go to Washington Township and think, did I lose anything by moving to Washington Township? The answer is no. You didn't lose anything. Right. You lost a few percentage points on your township tax, the tax rate.
Tax levy, yeah.
Because it's actually cheaper tax-wise to live in Washington Township. Now, your homes are valued higher over there, but there's nothing premium about Gloucester Township that says, hey, because you pay this extra money, you get this extra special treatment. We've been led to believe that, but don't believe that because it's not true. So that's basically
pretty plain and simple.
I saw this and I thought,
335 comments on that post. 217 people reacted to it. I had some traction. People are talking about that, and it's not going away. It's not getting any better.
And it's a shame too because
it's 100% a shame. Yeah,
because people genuinely believe, like, look, I'm paying all this extra tax money. And I'm getting something extra out of this. And look, you really aren't. Yeah. You fell for it. And
if you guys are mad, the elections happen in November, and you are able to make change. Around your decisions.
Yeah.
If you were to take your problem to somebody who you think is higher, you know what they're going to tell you? You have the elections. You can vote these people out. Why are you bothering me? This is not my problem. This is your problem. You make those decisions by who you elect. But yet, who do we elect? The same people over and over. And then we expect different results.
In town, they'll say, well, hey, if you don't like it, then vote for somebody else. And then if you go to the county and you go, hey, my town's really messed up and they're not doing things right, they say, well, look, you have elections that do this.
Right. Yeah, so you're supposed to vote.
Every other year, there is an election. Except actually in 2024, there's a special election because there's one guy who's running for council in an off election year this year. So you could definitely vote for somebody different this year.
Yeah.
So, just saying.
Yep.
2025 is going to be a huge election. New mayor, 3 new council seats. Pay attention, folks. We just
don't message us like we're the ones that fix your problem. You need to fix your problem by going out and voting, or get your neighbors to go out and vote.
Here to help you as much as we possibly can. But
we can just pass information along.
we're just passing information along. We're no longer activists and candidates. We're just here to pass the information along. Another great example right here too is this next subject here. The gentleman says, coming home today, saw they were clearing around trees and grading property across from the Mullen School on Sicklerville Road. Anyone know what's going on there?
Oh, I do. Hello. Anyone who's watched our podcast knows what's going on over there, right? How many years ago did we tell about this? 2 years? At least 2 years.
It was about 2 years ago, I guess.
Yeah. So someone who lives out of state, I believe, in Florida, owns the property across from Mullen. What was that? It was zoned R1, I believe, and they had like 28 houses that was approved, and they brought it to a planning board meeting and got approved for like, what was it, 200 units or something, around there. What you guys had the opportunity to stop it then, but we didn't. We just wait until bulldozers come out and we're like, oh my God, what's going on? It's done deal. You didn't pay attention. You didn't pay attention to us. You didn't go out to meetings. You didn't heed the call to say, hey, look, let's check the agenda and see what's on the planning board meeting. Oh my God, they want to change R1 to something else? Why do we have to change the
Here's the thing, too. Like, all right, this sucks. This sucks that you have to pay attention to every single council meeting, and every planning board meeting. It sucks that you have to pay attention to everything that's going on here. But that's only because every time you're not paying attention,
that's why sneaks up
taking advantage of you.
Yep.
So if you elect in good people that you don't have to constantly monitor, you don't have to pay attention all the time. I can't stress that enough. If you just put good people in that you trust, you don't have to constantly pay attention. It's tiring to constantly have to pay attention here, to think, what are they going to build? What are they going to sell that I own off to somebody else that's going to cost me more money? It's constant. Look, clear this entire thing out and you don't have to constantly pay attention. But here's an example here. This was passed 2 years ago.
My comment on her is top comment, right? This is great. What did I say here?
It's great how people don't pay attention until it's too late. Everyone missed tonight's planning board meeting where a developer was restricted from turning one of the last highway commercial tracts of land into housing by requiring them. It was all about whole. Yeah,
but basically that was another one. Like so, there's no one. It was myself and Denise Coyne at this meeting. They took basically somebody had a piece of land that they got approved, and they said, we're going to build commercial here and housing here, whatever, and that was approved. And then a few months later, they went back and said, oh, things changed. Sorry, we don't want to have to build the actual commercial. I know we agreed to do that. That's how we can get away with doing this. If you could just dismiss that part for us, and we'll just build everything, and then we'll promise, pinky swear, we'll do that for you. What the hell? What's holding them to building the commercial part that was the entire portion of allowing you to build housing? I'm sorry that you might not make as much money as you would if it were all housing, but that's not our problem. You didn't build, So why do we always have to approve these things? Either way, it's amazing that there's no one cares until it's too late.
I know.
That's the part. That's the point of it.
Being in the space that we're in, where we're constantly watching everything that's going on, and we're scrutinizing every move that they make, because generally, look,
the moves are not in benefit.
There's not a whole lot.
They do not represent
ever in the benefit of us, right? So we're constantly watching this, and it is tiresome. But we kind of do it because we know the rest of the people aren't paying attention. But
it's almost a public service that we have to do because no one else is paying attention. I feel obligated to help people.
We're unelected. We're unelected council members that are basically up there just scrutinizing everything that goes through, because it's a constant battle, which can be fixed so easily. If we just elected, just clean the entire system out. Let's find some new guys. look, they don't need to have any kind of affiliations to anything.
Yeah.
Just grab some neighbors and throw them in there, and then just throw them up there and say, what do you think about this issue?
Yeah.
And let's just honest people make some decisions. It's frustrating.
It is.
All right, next thing.
Same guy, John Berger again, I think, right? Yeah, same guy. 6 years ago.
Yeah, so 6 years. Six. Oh, I remember this. I remember this. That
he sat at a council meeting for 6 hours watching the members try to stall and basically drive us out of the meeting. Stall tactics are a huge thing of theirs. It's not new tactics. They do it all the time. We were just talking about it on another podcast where it's like, we have a planning board meeting tonight, and they see that people went out, gathered up people, they routed up a bunch of people to come out, and they're like, canceled. And they just cancel the next one, until they just tire you out. And that's basically what this guy is saying. That he tried tiring them out at this meeting.
I'm pretty sure what John's talking about here is probably our 2018 tax increase.
Okay.
So our 2018 tax increase, this is a really pivotal moment in Gloucester Township politics, really, because the council meeting room holds about 200 people.
Yep.
And it was full. And I think I got there, I got there like an hour early. Because I wasn't really familiar with the whole process. I got there like an hour early. I got a seat inside. It filled up. There were people in the parking lot. I could hear them chanting in the parking lot. Like they were yelling in the parking lot that they wanted to come in. It was the first time I ever met Sam Sweet. He was a couple seats in front of me. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I just recognize that guy from online. Mm. But there were just people talking about taxes, about tax increases. There were people. It was a very, very emotional meeting, to where there were retired residents on fixed incomes,
right?
And they were begging for this, and it's the same thing. This guy saw it. It's the same thing that took me, who was not involved in politics whatsoever. I had
years to realize this.
Basically,
you show up there and you're like, I'm sorry, that's already passed. Why are you bothering
I moved back to New Jersey in 2016, late 2016, from way in the middle of Pennsylvania, where I never had to worry about my township or anything like that, because it was so cheap to live out there, and the roads are always nice. The schools were nice. Everything was nice out there. I didn't have to worry about politics at all. I moved back here to be closer to family, and I thought, it's a mess. It's a mess, and these poor folks on fixed incomes, they really need help. That's why I got involved. It's the same thing he's speaking about here. Man, it was a moment for me when I saw all those folks filling that building up. It was a moment for me that I thought, we're all going to make a difference here. And unfortunately,
years later,
the rest of them burned out, and it was just me and a few people that still had this fire behind us that were like, look, we can fix this. We can get these people out of here. We can fix this. We can take back our town.
Yeah.
And so what this guy saw, I've never met John. Maybe
his final plea there is, please, people, vote these corrupt, ignorant people out of office.
Not only vote, though. Like look, that's not. It's not enough. It's not enough, because there's not enough people to vote. We've gone over this before. 29% of people in our township vote. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Like 29%. So there's a ridiculous amount of people that aren't voting. 29%.
Do we have that? What's the 29%? And if you were grading a test?
Oh my God! Oh yeah!
You really failed.
Oh yeah!
You failed. 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 You.
And you fail. Listen. Let me say something to you. As a friend, you suck.
Friends, you suck at voting. You suck at voting. You suck at coming out
Yep.
and doing anything. Look, man, this is our town. It's our town. It's our town, and every single one of you, whether or not you have a mortgage here, whether or not you rent here,
They work
whatever,
for us.
you all own a piece of this land. You got to start acting like it, man. You got to start acting like you're a part of this community, and get us to 50%. At least get us to 50%. Come out.
Yeah, really.
50%. 50% of people vote.
And it's the residents are the top of the organizational chart, right? I know we've gone over this in other other podcasts and stuff. We, the people, are in charge. There's way more of us than there are of them. We can tell them what we need to be done, and they should be listening to us of what needs to be done. Just the other day, where's my disclaimer again? Here, I gotta put this up. Hold on. This is. Oh, it's doing the thing again. Oh, you're doing
it again. Oh, you did it again.
How do we change that? These are my opinions, not that of any position I may hold. But there was a policy change, right? And it comes down, the way it works is there's a company called Strauss Esme that issues changes that are regulatory things that, like, say there's a law that changes and, like, okay, your policy kind of isn't in line with this law, so you need to change this regulation. Well, there was a regulation change that it was just a simple word changed, where it said in the policy, and these things are policy this thick. It's like, and I don't get paid to read these things, but you got to go through all this stuff. There was a lot that I disagree with the wording of that, and other members also disagreed. However, I was the only one that voted against doing this one word change. It said, I forget how exactly it was worded, but it basically said that the board must report to the residents, and then it crossed out the words that they serve. Those 3 words. Okay. Changing those 3 words did not change the overall anything about that law or that policy or that anything. However, keep taking away that wording, and over time, what happens? It's just like we were talking about the uranium at the landfill and trying to make people forget that this all happened. Well, I'm not voting to remove something that states that the board reports to the general public. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am not. That's what we do that. I understand stating it in that policy doesn't change the policy that we need to report it, but it also doesn't mean that we need to remove that. Like, there's no reason to remove that, that policy there. Anyway, I don't know how I got off on that topic, but Joe's doing changes on the fly over here, folks.
I just realized that our
what? It's not recording?
Huh?
What?
No. I realized that our banner was the wrong banner. So on here, so
I don't think
it was
Inside Township Talk.
Your head's always on the T. God damn it! Because you're too far over.
Yeah, I'm in your space over here.
But
So I'm trying to read your computer.
No, it's crazy to me to think that that every 2 years we elect a group of people and we say, "I trust you guys, have at it,"
and they go, do nothing else.
And then we just leave them go. We leave them go, and then we don't ever ask them questions. We don't even help them. Like let's say that they're not just mindless zombies up there that are answering, they just vote yes on whatever they do. But maybe they read the agenda and they go, I don't know a whole lot about this, but it seems to make sense. Mm-hmm. But then maybe somebody comes in a council meeting and they ask a question. And then that person on council says, I didn't think of that. That's actually a great question. Because I've had that moment like so many times.
Right, yeah.
Where I've read through the agenda and I go, boring agenda. And then, I happen to talk to like Sam Sweet before we go in, and he goes, oh no, this is a really big deal. And he talks through it. And I go, oh man, I didn't even think about that part. So if I were a council member and Sam brought that up, well, that would raise questions on me. So So the thought that we would elect people to go up there and then not follow up with them and say, hey, I've got this question about this. Maybe you show up for a council meeting and you ask that question. And if we actually had good people on council, we could ask them and they'd say, that's a really good point. I didn't think of that. That changes my mind now on this vote.
Yeah.
And even if the vote doesn't change anything, at least we know we've got somebody on council that's listening to us. And I don't think we've had that yet for a long time. At least not since I've been here. We haven't really had anybody that's thought about some of the questions.
Well, and part of that too, Joe, has to do with the timing of when those, like when people, just say it's a normal council meeting, something like that, a hot topic comes up that people can come out and talk about, and a guy shows up with that exact, the great point that you're talking about that could change your mind, and he doesn't realize that at the moment when it's like agenda items only was the time to ask that question because he waited until the public portion. You, as the councilman, so say you're up there as council, they didn't even hear that side of the argument until they already voted on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't change your. Well, I shouldn't say that. Every member up there has the ability to say, you know what, going back to that vote there, I would like to change my vote to this. I've done that. I've done that as a board member and changed my vote later on. And said I'm changing my vote to, yes or no, based off of something else that happened. No matter what happened, until that gavel closes the meeting, you have a chance to change that. So maybe they don't, or maybe they aren't aware that they're able to do that. I'm not sure what the reasoning is, but a lot of it has to do with that because a lot of those arguments come at a time that's after the meeting already happened, which goes back to that original guy, John, whatever his name was,
John Berger.
I went there, sat there for 6 hours, and they told us, "Oh, we already voted on that," because that's how they operate. It's like, this consent agenda. We just voted on $7 million worth of stuff, but I'm sorry, it's done already.
Yeah, I've been through a lot of budget meetings, to where when it's the final budget meeting, and after they vote on it, the public portion opens up, and then people say, "Wait, we've got a lot of questions here," and they go, "Oh, sorry, you missed that already." So you kind of have to.
Right. They count on you being dumb, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
they don't like. And that goes into the next topic here, right? Of being dumb. We are informed. Like, our whole purpose of this whole podcast is to inform people, right? Get people smarter.
Yeah.
Inform them of what's going on, and then that's what they don't like. They don't like us to know. Or did I skip over a portion of this here? Because I know we have two, the MUA, and then this one.
Well,
here.
we're actually. I want to lead into the MUA from this one here.
Okay, sorry, I'm a little bit off.
Yeah. But another resident posted. Well, this post didn't age well. And this is from a council member. Good morning, GT friends. Today's election day, and I'd love to get your support today. I never thought in a million years that I would ever run for any political position. But here I am.
LOL.
Yeah,
my friends.
My close friends tease me saying that I'm nuts for doing this. It's a tough job, but I lived in GT since I was a baby, and I love this town. I want nothing for my town to continue to grow, and I want this to happen in any way that I can. Our team is awesome, and I truly has the town's best interest at heart. This is the best team for the job, no question. Please consider voting for Team Mercado, Mignon, Waters, and Nash. Thank you. And that's from Councilman Jim Nash. And man, so all I can say here is somebody was bullshitted basically into this. I don't believe that Jim Nash is corrupted by these folks. Yet, I believe that Jim Nash is a good guy. I've talked to Jim Nash several times, and I don't believe that his team was the best. Although I'm biased because I was the opposing.
You were the other team.
I was the other team, but I don't believe that anybody with the township's best interest in mind, would vote to sell our MUA.
So he technically didn't vote to sell it. He technically voted
to put it up for bid.
Put it up to see what offers were out there. Well, guess what? If I didn't want to sell something, I wouldn't put it up to see what offers are out there.
It's kind of like I was saying before. You come home and your spouse is like, hey, these 3 dudes in the kitchen, I'm going to go see what they have to offer right now. You know? Look, it's a bad feeling. Because you're thinking like, hey, I haven't done anything wrong. I've been a good guy. I've done everything you've asked me to do. I've done everything you've asked me in a good amount of time. Who are these dudes in my house right now? But no. So...
Well, and that's the point. Is so when I'm saying technically he didn't put it up for bid, I'm right. He's right. He didn't put it up for sale. He didn't say that he wanted to sell it. Right.
But he did say.
So he's the in your scenario, the person that has other offers there. Say, well, I'm going to check these out.
Yeah.
There is something wrong with that. You know, there definitely is something wrong with that.
From what I know, and then nobody else has been able to tell me otherwise. These folks that were running what used to be the MUA, they were doing a good job. They had $6 million in reserve for anything that may come up. Any catastrophic failures. They had money in reserve. And they charged us $46 a quarter to provide these services.
And that hasn't been raised since, I think it was 2014, I want to say.
And if anything happened, so their responsibility is from the curb forward.
To the
nothing in your yard at all. And what they have been providing is they've been providing services that if you have a clog going out to the curb, they've helped you in a lot of cases
where they can,
or they could consult and say, look, we can't do this in your house. This is where you need to call a plumber.
Right.
A lot of those services. Well, look, if you call a plumber, you're looking at a pretty
$200 just to show up.
A couple $100 just for them just to drive up to your house.
Yeah.
And the MUA has provided that for free. So you look at all the services. And we mentioned in a previous podcast, we looked into reasons, like really good reasons why you would privatize. Because I'm not against privatization. I think look at trash service, right? You hire somebody to do your trash service, waste management, or whatever company you got now, and if they're bad or if they're expensive, you go somebody else and you pick somebody else, and then you give them a contract for a year. If they do a good job, you keep them. But in this case, there's nothing wrong here. We're probably at the cheapest we could possibly be for these services.
Well, yeah.
They're doing
and when
a good
you
job.
see the testimonials from other towns that have done this, it's not favorable to the residents.
No, we're talking
the story that you get.
We're talking like $46 a month, right? Or $46. A quarter.
So you're basically $15 a month if you want to put it in terms of that.
Going to $65 a month.
Well, on the low side, some of them are saying it was $65 to $80 a month.
Yeah, some are higher. And
that's before they acquire our system. So if other towns are at that rate,
yeah,
you should go onto our channel and watch the experts speak about this. But basically, when they do purchase a system, like say they were to purchase our system, people who are already in their network or whatever you want to say are paying for our system. When someone else is acquired and we are a customer, now we're paying for their system and our system. It's like a, I don't want to say a pyramid scheme, but it's basically you're continuing to pay for other future acquisitions by the private corporation. It was how do you call it? Like an example was given of saying, like, if you bought a car and then you own the car, so you paid it off, and then you wanted to go get a new car, Or no, I don't know if you want to go get a new car. Whatever they say, it's after you paid off your car, now you're allowed to keep driving your car, but you're also now paying for a new car rate because that's what you're paying is the fair market value of whatever this utility that they've purchased now.
Essentially, what they were saying here was that wherever you live, from like 1980 on, your development was developed by some developer that came in. They built all the houses, they put all the sewer systems in place, and then when it was all done, they paid all the connection fees to go into the sewer system. They gave that sewer system. They just gave it. They gave it to the township and said, "Here, you can take over the sewer system.
You manage this."
So, the problem that I have with privatization in this part is it's not like the trash system. It's not like we can maybe switch over to a private company for a year and see how it works out. It's not the same. It's not like the ambulance company either, where we just switch over. Like we got rid of the GT ambulance squad and we went private. This is completely different because right now we're selling off all of our infrastructure. So all the millions of dollars in infrastructure, every single development that was ever built here that was given over to GTMUA, we're selling off all of that stuff. So if American Water, let's say, we'll just use those as an example because the mayor works for them and that's probably a likely thing that's going to happen. So if they pay, I don't know, there was like $12 million, $20 million. I saw yesterday, maybe it's worth $56 million. Whatever they pay for it, they're going to buy it at that price.
And then we are responsible to pay them back for what they spent.
And then they could raise our rates so that they can regain that, so they can get that money back from it. So then we have to pay for that system that we already paid for once again. And then 3 years down the line, if we're like, man, we're getting murdered by the cost of this thing.
Oh, well.
Well, there's nothing we can do unless...
You don't like it? Move.
Yeah. There's basically, once they own all of the infrastructure here, there's nothing we could do other than maybe doing something crazy about, I don't know, we have to raise like $50 million to go buy the infrastructure back.
That's if I don't even know that, they're not forced to sell it.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's possible to get that money back. To buy that back, I don't know if that's possible. So, like, look, once it happens, it happens, and it happens for good.
It's over, Johnny.
In the UK, the UK was kind of first at privatizing, and the UK is trying to take steps now to reverse it now, because they were. If you watched the meeting yesterday, they said this is kind of a New Jersey thing.
New Jersey
privatization PA, is New Jersey PA is like it's big on privatization.
Starting here.
But in the UK, this happened a long time ago. And in the UK, they've kind of realized it's getting a little too expensive.
We made a mistake,
yeah, they made a mistake. And now they're trying to find ways to reverse it. We don't have to reverse it because we're not there yet. But it's getting close. And I didn't even think about this till now. But so yesterday we had the community meeting, and let me see if I could find. Here we go, got that.
Oh man!
All right, so yesterday, first of all, yesterday was our community meeting. So
go onto our website. We have
gtobserver.com.
Yep.
The meeting is on there. We kind of it wasn't the most technically prepped meeting.
Right, yeah. We kind of showed up with the camera, put it in there. There was a little bit of technical difficulty on the filming. It's a little wavy. Had to do with lighting.
It is. It's an old building with old lighting in there, so it's kind of a...
It's not unwatchable. It's not definitely... Great. It's not the best, but...
Honestly, the
tons
turnout...
of good information.
The turnout for it was fantastic. We had probably 40 seats set up, I think, because, look, it's Gloucester Township. Yeah. Y'all don't really show up for things. So we kind of had like 40 seats set up. We had like 70 people. Yeah. We had like 70 people show up. And we had some really good speakers. They had some really good speakers, and they made some really good points. But what I really want to show here is, so here's the thing.
This flyer was handed out onto everyone's car. So it was raining outside, and the meeting's going on. This was well advertised. There was several of us that were out at different locations handing out flyers, the post office, the grocery store, different places, letting people know about this meeting, getting them out there. So when they actually showed up, what happens is the political machine, who obviously wants this to go through, because otherwise they would have, one, never voted to even put it on the agenda, or, put it on the agenda. Two, voted on it unanimously to put it out to bid. And number three, show up with flyers that look like it's some kind of communist, I don't know what colors that are
there's some coloring here, too, and I just... So, let's think about how this was sold to us. So this was sold to us as they voted on it, and
just to see.
Yeah, even our new council member Nash said, "Look, we just want to see.
It's my responsibility.
To see what this is all about, and how it will affect the township."
Okay, well here now you say.
I mean, when we get into flyers, calling folks that are familiar with this political hacks. Dennis Palmer.
He's not political. He works for a
Dennis Palmer works for
sewer system.
A sewer system down in
Vineland.
Yeah, down in Vineland. He is
engineer.
I forget the certification that he has, but it's one thing. We had like one person in all of Gloucester Township that had this.
Yeah, it's like I forget the name of it,
but
so they call him a career bureaucrat for over 45 years. Now collects a pension. Okay, so is that a bad thing? So if he's in 45 years, let's start naming some other bureaucrats that we have around here. How much they make?
Tom Cardis is making like 200 and I don't know, like 50.
Yeah. So this idea probably comes from Tom Cardis's desk to try to sell this, whether it was from him or the mayor, who. Him and the mayor are the administration. So when the administration is handing it to council to vote on, he's the one handing it over to them. Yeah. But yet, Dennis Palmer, for going and telling people about this, who has now, I guess, retired with 45 years of public service, it's a problem that he gets a pension? Let's get Tom Cardis's salary for all the different jobs that he does in town. Let's find out how much he makes.
He only 11 jobs now?
Currently, not just pension.
I don't even know.
Yeah, he does for Pine Hill, right? He does for.
They attacked one of their own employees.
Oh yeah, so
Anthony Calabrese.
Yeah,
and
supposed
union rep. He's the shop steward for the union. There's no supposed about it.
Right.
He's the shop steward. Like that's it. And they talked about this issue here where basically the township drug their feet. So not something on him either. And then Kate Delaney, who is a part of
ultra progressive activist that uses scare tactics to try to create confusion among residents. What's confusing about handing facts about privatizing water? Kate has been through this in like 3 other towns, this being the fourth. She's just handing out facts of what they're doing, and that's scare tactics. The truth is scary. I guess the truth is scary.
Kate spoke, and there are, and she went through the towns. She went through and talked about the towns that they voted yes to privatize, and the towns that they voted no to not privatize. She talked about her experiences there. She talked about the effects that it had on the folks, and that was it. That's what she talked about. The funny thing was, so Kate and some of the other people that are involved there are in this room for this thing. There were people. Now I've mentioned before, I've become a member of the Gloucester Township Republican Committee because I felt like, as an independent, I felt like I wasn't really representative. So I became part of this committee, so that I could better represent that part.
I think I know where you're going with this, but good.
So, yeah, there were several members of the Gloucester Township Republican Committee there. Kate is a progressive Democrat.
Right. So basically, you
Opposite.
could not be more opposite.
More opposite. We are all
On the
same page, working together because it is so messed up.
It's an
in
issue
Gloucester
of what's
Township.
best for our pockets, our residents here. It's not a...
Yeah, look, we have different views of how government should run, but we all seem to know this is not how government should run.
Right.
So when you have people from opposite sides of the spectrum coming together and saying this is really bad,
It's a bipartisan issue, is what
we
they call it, right?
really need you folks to realize it's really bad here.
Yeah.
It's really bad. I mean, trying to explain this to my wife after the meeting yesterday, and I said, it's amazing to me how you have people that are so politically different and they come together. There is nothing. There's nothing there's been so many issues that have come across our topics over the last couple of years now, to where we say this is so bad. Like this is so obvious. Mm-hmm. This one tops it all. Like the mayor, his job is to bring in other municipalities into privatization. So to have them say, well, look, he's not involved in this at all.
No, it's such a slap in the face.
He's 100% involved in this at all. His name's not on it, right?
He might be doing nothing from this point forward, right? But everything's already done.
The deal was already set up. All of the inside information has already been set up. We're not. Well, look, we're not dumb. So this is the top of it. Like if we can't win on this issue, I'm sorry, Gloucester Township, but there's nothing else that anybody can do for you. If we lose this issue, there's nothing. Then look, pack up and leave, because if we lose the sewer utility here because nobody paid attention enough, then it's over for us. It's over for us, and I'm sorry. You've got to move. You've got to move, or you can just take it.
Well, the part with their whole flyer, if you go back to that flyer, what thing you got there? But I want to know if they say that if this is misinformation from fake news from political hacks, what's the real side? What is the real side of it? What's the real news? If it's not the only thing that I've ever heard in the news or that I've read anywhere that I've looked this up, is it's detrimental to the people who lost their system to a private company, right? What is the secret? If there's actually another side of the story of the facts that these people here were presenting, the political hacks, what is it? What is the other side?
I don't know.
What's so secretive about it that the town can't hold that meeting, or the machine here in Gloucester Township can't put on a community meeting and inform people? Maybe they want to do it.
Yeah,
I almost guarantee
give me a sales pitch. Like I said,
they will not have a sales pitch. They'll hope that no one gets informed about it and it just passes, or they don't flip their ballot over to read that there was a referendum, so they don't vote against it, or whatever the case is. I guarantee you, there's not going to be a meeting that you're able to go to and ask questions like you were at this meeting here.
There's not going to be a town hall put on by them.
Right. We don't even have a town hall in Gloucester Township at all. Look through Camden County and look everywhere else in Camden County has had a town hall. Not Gloucester Township. Literally like the largest of all places. Go on Camden County's Facebook page and their website and go back and look. Prove me wrong. Prove me that we've had anything. They do not want you to know anything.
It's a little more. There's people involved here that have strong questions that I think they avoid.
I absolutely
think
do.
They avoid it.
And proof of that, Winslow. We're having one in Winslow. Few people, myself and another lady, and I think someone else, showed up there, asked a hard question. Sorry, ask a hard question. And I knew enough to say they are going, because it was live streamed, right? So I said, I knew enough to call Joe and be like, get that recording. They're taking this down the second that this aired.
And they did.
Got it. He got the recording. It's on our YouTube channel if you want to go back and look. But they erased all mention anywhere of that ever even taking place because they do not want people to know the truth.
Yes.
That's what this whole podcast is about, and we appreciate you guys signing in and listening to us.
It's crazy to me, man. That it is like it's you know look over the last couple of years we've heard the conspiracy theorist like thing, and it's when it comes down to the local level, it's a little more boring on the local level. Like it's not as cool as the national level of conspiracy theory thinking, but on the local level, I was the guy that started years ago that thought I'm going to debunk all the conspiracy theories that are happening here. And look, all the folks that brought them up,
they're 100% right.
They were right. They were right. So when it comes down to this, and I've seen it over and over again, and that's why we're sitting here right now, because it's like because I think what did we have like a year and a half ago? We had like some propaganda stupid video that the videos the township was putting out to summarize their council meetings to tell us what was happening.
Oh yeah, after we started ours, they started Alex TV, I think it was called. Remember?
Yeah, it was like right before we started this. It was like this TV thing where they summarized it, and it was like that's not what happened at all.
Yeah.
So we said, you know what? Look, we're gonna throw some videos together. We're gonna do this, and then here we are. I don't even know how long we've been doing this now. Are we on like 2 years now? I don't know.
It almost must be 2 years.
It could be on
Either
2
way,
years.
it's good to recap. It's good to put the record out there and prove them wrong on a lot of different things they do. Get the air out. It's amazing how many people actually are aware of things because of this podcast. So
it's growing, man. It's growing, and I'll tell you what, man. I was out yesterday. I was out yesterday morning before the community meeting, and I had a bunch of stuff that I was out doing, and I'm running around, and I was like, God, I gotta run home now. I gotta pick up all this equipment. I gotta run to this meeting, and I'm like, I am so tired of just chasing these folks and reporting on what they're doing because because we could just fix this. We can make this so much easier. Like I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having to do this. I need the rest of you all to just, I don't know, man. Just like, look, help us out so that I don't have to take away. So that all these folks that are involved constantly don't have to constantly fight these battles. I mean, we just know that it works well.
Yeah.
It's a long process to get there, but we need more people to get involved. And
you too can make the difference. I think that this MUA will, or this issue, whatever, with the MUA, former MUA,
I don't think
will bring people out.
I don't think we're at a. I mean, there hasn't been one. And like I said, I wanted to be the guy that came out with something that said, "Here's a good reason to privatize." So I looked up really good reason to privatize. That's how I wound up looking in all the stuff that was happening in the UK with privatization. Right. Was just finding a good reason that we should privatize. Like if your town's really, really poor and they're out of money,
there are
the system
reasons that it should work. Yeah, or could work.
If the system can't handle the people, then you have to privatize. But this is a well-maintained system, and if you listen to Anthony talk yesterday,
well, even on the report in the application with the local finance board, which was the first step in this. Go look on our website. There we have the report that they sent in. We paid for a report that said our system is in great shape. Basically, like there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Which means, what Anthony says in the meeting, the guy that they call the supposed
union rep,
that he's not lying. It's in the report that you guys provided to the local finance board.
Yeah.
So what? I'm sorry that information is out there and publicly available and we're able to get it and inform people of it, but that's just the way it is. Sorry.
Yeah, and look, they've done a great job, and if anybody in this entire realm of folks that would support privatization, I think it would be me more than anybody else. And I don't in this situation, because this is the one situation where I think the government employees have provided us the service they're supposed to provide us.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, look, I'm on the same. I think government wastes a lot.
They do, Yeah.
So I am surprised at what they have done after looking into it. Before this all, I probably would have had the preconception that it was wasteful. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But after looking at the facts, it's not. That's the truth about it. There's no other way to pose it. Other things I look at. All right, I might have that assumption, and I don't know that I'm wrong about them, but I also could be wrong. I'm totally open to listening and seeing what actually happens. There's a lot of preconceptions that people have, not knowing the details of it. But in this particular case, we've looked into the details because of the situation that we had.
Yeah,
and our opinions have said, "Oh wow, actually, they really were well run." It was just something I never even thought of before.
No. I mean, I initially would have thought it's government run. It's definitely wasteful. There's some guy sleeping somewhere on my dime, right? But when you start digging into it, you think these guys provided a fantastic service for $46 a quarter compared to what other townships are paying $60-some a month. I'm sold. But if the competition is out there and said, wait, we can do this so much better, so much cheaper, nobody.
So that's an interesting point that you bring up. But the way that this particular sale would happen is, in most cases, when there's a bid out there, a lot of times they'll have to put something out for bid because it's over a certain threshold. We'll use that bridge, for instance, because we've gone over that in the podcast. There was like a $300,000 bid. There was a $390,000 bid. There was a $400,000 bid. There was a $200,000 bid. The lowest bid gets the price because it's a spending bill here.
Yeah.
The way that this particular bid is going to work is that anything that they charge, well, I should say that they pay to buy the system, they are able to recoup. So there is zero incentive for them to be the low bid. They want, in this case, to be the highest bid, right? So if you're New Jersey American Water and I'm Aqua, or vice versa, whatever, you bid $80,000 for it. I bid $100,000 for it. It's now a $20 million windfall of money more to the town. So it's an incentive. But at the same time, if the price is higher that we're getting, that means that the residents are getting charged back a higher rate too. So you have to. It's not the incentive of putting a bid out there and something like, I'll bid the lowest amount here and we're going to get the no. Their incentive is to be as high as possible so they can give you the windfall of cash as the governing body, make it look good on your ballot that we're getting all this money. Not mentioning the part of, hey, screw you, Joe. Joe customer, we're charging you back for it. So it's a completely different scenario than any kind of a bid that you're typically used to.
And like we mentioned before too, we go into a pool now. So if privatization happens and they do acquire our sewer
system,
utility, then we go into a pool of other townships. Yeah. So say I don't know if Winslow is already private or not. But if they acquire Winslow, let's just use Winslow as an example. If they acquire Winslow, then now the money they have to recoup from Winslow
also gets spread to everyone else
on us. So if they acquire us, then all the people that they already acquired, their bills go up because now they have to recoup what they paid for GT, and GT is one of the biggest areas in South Jersey. And they acquire Winslow next.
But they have no incentive to do it at a lower price, is my point.
No, because they have to make profits. Bottom line
There's
is
zero incentive.
they have to make profits for shareholders.
It's not like put it out to bid, and when you originally hear that, just as a natural thing, you're like, oh, okay, it's whoever gets the lowest. No. It's they want to be the highest, and they have no incentive to not go high because they can recoup it. So what's the difference?
Yeah. So anyway, so far we've not come across any reason that we should privatize. But if there is, nobody's sharing.
There are reasons to, Joe. We have found them, but Gloucester Township does not fit into any of those buckets that would make it.
Right. We are an old system, but we are a well-maintained system. So we do not need to. We do not need to do that because we're in need of repairs.
We have a report showing we are not in bad repair.
Right. And so I have not been able to find any good reason for it. If there are good reasons for it, there hasn't been a town hall or any communication. There's been a red flyer put on cars to say how bad the folks are that oppose it.
Yeah.
But there hasn't, which is concerning too, because remember how this was sold to us. This was sold to us that we're just putting our feelers out there to see what this can do.
Obviously, there's an outcome that they want.
This flyer shows that there is something that somebody wants here.
There's motivation.
So, if there is a good argument to privatize this,
tell us. Open invite to the podcast. Come in and tell us.
Yeah,
we'll let everybody know.
There's many ways to reach out to the podcast. If you want to come on the podcast and talk about why it's a good idea to privatize this,
please do
absolutely have you on this podcast. And I really look forward to that. I mean, look, this is all. If you think that maybe rather than $46 a quarter, you can go to $35 a quarter and still provide the same service, and then guarantee it for, I don't know, because that's the other thing. They say, hey, we can do this for $46 a quarter for 3 years, and then it's $65 a month. That was the other thing we talked about in the meeting yesterday.
Yeah.
But if you could say, look, we can do this for $35 a quarter for like 10 years, and then maybe, I don't know, there's some kind of like rate increase maximum that you could do.
Just let them see anything.
Tell us anything at all that would say that would have people believe.
They haven't answered a single question at a council meeting when asked direct questions. They answer other questions. So if they won't answer them there, what makes you think they're going to come on the podcast and answer them here?
Because
that's the point. We're giving you an open platform. The entire township would love to hear.
We're not against.
I would love to hear it. Yeah.
We're not against privatization, right?
Right.
We're against people doing
the wrong thing and
a ton of more money to sell off our system. So if you have some.
But if the reasoning is because we want to get rid of the debt wasn't caused by all of us. The debt was caused by you elected officials. So that's a you problem. If you aren't reelected because of that, that's a you problem. You know what I mean?
That's another thing to bring up too.
Oh, we're still going.
So no, look, the debt was caused by municipal debt. Yeah. So the folks that own property, the folks that own like acres and acres of land that don't have sewer on there, if for some reason unfairly, they'll benefit. If for some reason they said, hey, we're going to take all this money that we got from the sale of the sewer utility and we're going to give it back to the taxpayers. Well, look, not everybody that's a taxpayer also pays the sewer bill.
Right.
So if you have a ton of land and you pay a ton of money on taxes for that land, but you don't have sewer on that land, you don't deserve to get the money back that the ratepayers
paid, yeah.
From, you know what I'm saying? That they got from that they paid into this. So it's pretty complicated, and I mean at this point right now, it's better that we just
end the show.
Well, no. Well, so look, there's another website that we didn't mention, and I don't even think that I don't think we actually ever talked about it either.
SaveGTMUA.com.
Yeah, it's a limited a bit of information on this website right now, but go to SaveGTMUA.com. and keep up on what's going on there. Check back maybe once a week.
Yeah, I think there's some,
the community meeting was on there, and then there's calendar events on here that are going. So right now that's it. We had one event. There's limited information on there right now, but check that website regularly. And then if not, there's always gtobserver.com.
Yeah.
And check us out, and we'll have all the latest information on there. There's also a link to Save the MUA website on there too, so keep up with us, and
we'll keep you guys informed as much as we can, even if we're called political hacks. We weren't called political hacks. That was just some other people, but that's because
I lost
they knew
twice.
they were
So
speaking.
I guess I'm probably a hack now. Yeah, it's probably.
I don't know that it's a good thing to be a non-political hack. If you're a political expert in this state,
I'm just happy.
You're not good in my opinion.
I'm the guy that got off my sofa and did something about it. So
there you go.
I ain't a hack in any way. I'm a thorn in their side. I love every minute of it.
Yep.
So you folks,
stay classy.
You can also be a thorn in their side too. Subscribe to our stuff, and we'll see you folks in like another week or so.
See you
ya.
guys.